Hi everybody, Dr. Rob Silverman here. I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope everybody is adjusting to the new normal. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about. I really believe that we're going to be able to get ahead of this. As I always say, we are in it together. I'd love to encourage you to ask some questions. I'm getting a lot of questions after the live via Facebook and a lot of emails and DMs, and that's great. I'd love for you to all engage and ask me a few questions. But one of the questions that was asked over the weekend, and something that I had covered before and that's in the news now, is the cytokine storm. What is it? What do we do? Some of the protocols seem to change as you get into the cytokine storm. Can we cover that? And without question, let's go over it. The cytokine storm is very simple. It's obviously, without question, a lot of cytokines. Cytokines come from an inflammatory pathway called the NLRP3 inflammasome. That inflammasome is upregulated and released. It's released in COVID-19 because we've got these things called furin cleavage, and they cleave and they open up these cell membranes. With that being said, the cytokine storm comes out, excessive amount of cytokines come, and we're not able to manage and modulate them. Meaning if we have too many cytokines, we have too many pro-inflammatory things. Now, believe it or not, cytokines are needed because they are pro-inflammatory, and we need a certain amount of inflammation to ameliorate, if you will, some viruses. When we have too much of a release, like a storm, like a very heavy rain, if you will, these cytokines are very damaging. They're deleterious, and they damage specific organs and tissues, and that's the problem. So we all know that this is a very unique, mutated virus. It has a specific tropism, and it's able to, again, attach to specific surfaces. And please make note of the surfaces that I'm going to list now: lung, gut, and kidney. So very interesting, because in part 2 of this, I'm really going to talk about the gut and some new information that's come out on the gut. Everybody I spoke about this morning was like, wow. So the cytokine storm essentially is the extra cytokines. And that really comes because in this particular virus, there's a damage to the surface of the lungs, and we call that ACE2 receptors. So we get a little concerned about the ACE2 receptors. So the things that we take for the cytokine storm may be a little different from what we would take just to prevent everything. So let me give you 5 quick things if you want to prevent and give yourself a strong immune boost. Vitamin D3, please mark that because we're going to talk about that later. Vitamin D3 with K2. Always want to take K2 because you want to take K2 with vitamin D because it protects against calcification. Vitamin D has been studied to help decrease upper respiratory issues. Vitamin D is really shown to put the immune system brakes on too much pro-inflammation. It's a standard bearer, but we're going to make note. Some of the other things that were questionable that people asked about were elderberry. Elderberry, again, great for acute respiratory. Some of the things that I also like to incorporate just to build your immune system would be specific mushrooms. So again, derma, turkey tail, shiitake, and the such are great immune boosting. Some of the other things that we talked about were liposomal glutathione. Liposomal glutathione is great because glutathione is your master antioxidant. So the liposomals and nanotechnology gets it in quicker. So these are some of the supplements. Liposomal vitamin C, also excellent. Everybody knows it's immune enhancing. Those are just 5. Those aren't the only 5. Probiotics also are a great choice because 80% of our immune cells are in our gut. Again, we want to keep eating good, quality, healthy foods, no gluten, no dairy, decrease our sugar. Exercise. I can't tell you how much exercise is important. Now, for the cytokine storm, so many people have asked me, well, what about vitamin D in the cytokine storm? What about elderberry? Well, there's no true studies that say that it's bad. We just know that there are some studies and information that says it may increase specific interleukins, these interleukins 18. So we're a little concerned about the cytokine storm. So if you don't have or test positive for the virus, use those immune boosting. If you do, you can make that switch, and here's what I'd recommend. Melatonin. Now, 9-year-olds and below seem to have the lowest incidence of catching COVID-19. That's because they have 10 times the amount of melatonin that someone at my age does. This melatonin seems to be really, really health promoting and protective of the virus. So I'm a big proponent of taking some melatonin, about 20 milligrams, believe it or not. You get a little extra kick to that because the little extra byproduct, if you will, is that you're going to be able to sleep a little bit better. In addition to that, maybe you want to switch off the elderberry, but ascorbic acid, vitamin C, is still very potent. Some excellent herbs that have shown to decrease the cytokine storm: turmeric, ginger, boswellia, and a very specific nutrient, pro-resolving mediators. Pro-resolving mediators allow for the resolution of inflammation. They also allow for the homeostasis of the initiation and the resolution of inflammation, because part of the problem with the cytokine storm is that the cytokine storm lasts too long and damages organs and structures, i.e. most predominantly the lungs. So it's not that you shouldn't take the D3 or the elderberry, it's you may want to switch off it if you test positive for the virus. Remember, information's coming out. This is very fluid. This is why you always want to check with your functional medicine, functional nutrition doc, check with any physician, and always, please come and listen, and feel free, again, to reach out to me over here and ask any questions. We're going to be here every day, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. So I think I put the cytokine storm to bed. If you have any questions, I want to share some other things about gut manifestations. Interestingly enough, so now gut plays a big role. This does not surprise me. Everybody knows I'm all about the gut and the gut-to-brain axis. It should not surprise you at all. 80% of your immune cells are in your gut. It's where your macro and micronutrients are. So these GI manifestations are consistent with the distribution of the ACE2 receptors. Those are the ACE2 receptors that everybody's talking about in the lungs. Again, in the lungs, in the ileum, and in the gut. So there is a significant portion of people who have COVID-19 that are showing positive symptomology for diarrhea, abdominal distress, gastrointestinal symptoms. With that being said, there were a couple of studies that were printed at the end, I think it was February 27th, in Gastrology, and I just want to read these numbers to you. The researchers found that 53.4% of the patients with SARS-CoV-2 had RNA in their stool. So they gave them the poop test and found out that 53.4% of them actually had the virus in their stool. 23% of them actually had it in their stool and tested negative for respiratory symptoms. So your gut is a major issue. We now know that it is also, if you will, fecal to oral. It's not just respiratory. They've tested multiple places, public restaurants, McDonald's type of drive-thrus, and they found out that high fecal matter in a lot of these places. People aren't washing their hands enough. So that being said, we should really talk about some things that'll help your gut and how you want to take care of this, and understand that, again, 80% of your immune cells are in your gut. So here's what I recommend. You've heard me say this before. No gluten and no dairy. Decrease your sugar. No artificial sweeteners. Eat really good foods. We were talking about fermented foods, and fermented foods are great. Fermented foods like garlic, leeks, onions, Jerusalem artichoke. If you can still get it, those foods are excellent. Vegetables, great choice. Get all the green vegetables that you can. Now's your time to learn how to be a great cook. Now's your time to compete with Bobby Flav. I don't watch him, but I know he's the guy to go to. Whole foods. Not necessarily Whole Foods Market, but whole foods, wild fish. We talked about the wild fish as a recap. Wild fish to the acronym of SMASH: salmon, mackerel, artichokes, sardines, anchovies for the A, herring for the H, and mackerel for the M. Great choice there. Obviously, I'm anti-grain. I would like you guys to avoid the grains. You're inside. And exercise. Exercising is a critical element to overall gut health. Great choice to exercise. In addition to that, you got to take your probiotics. I'm really robust on the consumption of probiotics. So that would be one supplement that I would recommend everybody take, because it would be so helpful for good bacteria in the gut. Do we have any questions? Great.
Marcus wants to know if we're getting enough fresh air on sunny days. Will that provide sufficient vitamin D?
What a great question. Hey, Marcus, how are you? It's great to hear from you. I hope all is well with you and Freda. Unfortunately, right now, we're in the month of March, And it's actually where I am. I'm in New York in Westchester County. As you all know, it kind of snowed a little bit today. So even though going outside is critical, get in tune with nature, we've seen so many positives with that. The sunlight is not strong enough at this point for us to get the release of vitamin D. The only way we could have that where we are, Marcus lives not that far from me, in the Northeast, would be between May and September from 9 to 2 o'clock if the UV rays are 3. We're not going to get those UV rays. Definitely always consume foods to get your vitamin D. But at this point, as long as you're not testing positive for COVID-19, I would strongly recommend 5,000 IUs minimum with K2 on vitamin D. So everybody feel free, to reach out to me. Every day we're going to be doing something at 1 o'clock. Actually, there was one more thing I wanted to tell you. A good article in USA Today where it spoke about deliveries. And this is really pertinent to everybody. So in reference to the deliveries, we all know there was a study in New England Journal of Medicine last week that spoke to the idea that the virus lives 24 hours on cardboard. It also lives 72 hours on plastic. Now, a lot of studies and a lot of accusations have been that when you get a package, that the package is not going to have the virus or a lower incident of the viral contamination. So my suggestion is, I don't know if I'm necessarily buying that. I get packages every day. I just bought a new book. We get the mail, of course. So when you get a package, here is my suggestion. Wear some gloves. And if you don't have gloves, wash your hands after. Open up the package. Now, usually when you open up the paper, cardboard on the outside, you'll get to like the little bubbles, plastics that make noise. That obviously can have the virus for 72 hours. So, you're going to open that up, leave it outside, put it right in the garbage, take what you have in, wipe it down, disinfectant if you can, little Lysol. In addition, the mail, be very cautious. And one thing left that you may want to consider why you would want to be so careful before you bring the package in. Even though the incidence of the delivery, UPS, post office and the like, FedEx, etc., is very low, it's conceivable if they coughed on it inadvertently that we could pass the virus. So get your packages, don't sweat it, get your deliveries, don't sweat it, open them up, bring them inside. After you bring them inside, make sure you either take your gloves off or even if you don't have gloves, wash your hands both ways. Really wash your hands really good. Get in there. Remember Dr. Oz? He did a great job on TV. He showed you how he got his hands and he cleaned the palm and he opened up the thumb. So if we don't have any more questions, we'll be answering questions every day at 1 o'clock. It's all my pleasure. Remember, we're all in it together. Dr. Rob, always yours in health. See you tomorrow.